Hello, everybody. I let that run for too long. Sorry. Normally, I don't have the intro running for that long. Yeah, so I made the today command. We're going to be tackling some of these tasks for my to-do list. Let's actually start by editing the journal. Come on. Come on. There we go. Okay, so Skeletal Sellers. So what do we do? Fix the outro anxiety scene and started working through my to-do list. All right, let's keep going. Notice I was basing the distance on where the item came from instead of the cursor location. A very faded out tooltip. Is this true? I wonder if this is the old bug. Hey, Sinistel. Guess off first despite lurking. Well, thanks. Yeah, I am coincidentally looking into something you posted. Notice it was basing the distance on where the item came from instead of the cursor location. I don't know if this is correct. Tooltip was just right away. Or maybe it's stated a little bit strangely, because I know about the faded out bit if it's just the right amount away. So like if I drag this to this area, like I can barely see this, but it's not where the item came from. It is where the mouse is. So if I drag in a perfect circle, which is really hard to do, it shouldn't actually change the fading at any point. But like I said, it's hard to do. So it's hard to drag in a perfect circle. So I don't think this is an issue. But yeah, Cinecell, if you have any other details about this, do let me know. Because like the item came from over here. It does just matter where the cursor is. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna delete this then. We love that the town hall doesn't add the dot to the tabs indicating you can afford a perk. This will happen when your money changes next. Okay, so what puts that dot there? This is never used? Why, really? It's never used? No kidding. Well, I guess we delete this, huh? And if it truly never shows up anywhere, yeah, why keep it around? This is probably used. It is. This renders it as a skull, I think. Somehow I saw it where if I pulled an item from far away, there was no tooltip. Grabbed it from the bottom right of storage, it would be faded one. Items near the portal or finds as sort of close to it. It might have been that you ran into the same issue that was reported in that same thread, which I just fixed, which is if you drag in one swift motion, it wouldn't update the opacity. I think that's what you saw. And that has been fixed. So now I have not let go of the left click right now. So like I'm dragging this around, and if I get it close to the slime, it works correctly. And when I let go, it will drop it onto here. But that didn't used to work. So I think it's just a fixed thing right now. Yeah, thank you. All right, so where's that dot come from? Apparently word symbol doesn't find it. Oh, no, there it is. Where does this get called from? Update tab affordability. What? It's just this. What I don't understand, though, is... Oh, this updates it for anything. Yeah, I see. So we need to call this. Haven't double checked or gone through any recordings. That's totally fine. Yeah. I don't think it's a big deal anyway, because I can't repro it, and I haven't heard other people complain too much. So I assume it's from the bug I fixed, but we won't know for sure. So this is probably done when our money changes. Yeah. And we need to also do this when you upgrade the town hall, which I don't think we do we? Unlocked town hall. No, we don't do this. Do we have an upgraded town hall? Yeah, we do. Well, listens for this now. Perks panel tab listens for this? What? Isn't this where update affordability comes from? Update tab affordability in the perks panel. Okay, hold on. Where where does this go? Perks panel tab on upgraded town hall. Shouldn't there be like an affordability thing in here? Yeah. And we only need to do this after adding the buttons. Yeah, I think this should do it. All right, let's try it without the fix. Then let's fix it and we'll try it with the fix. So what we need to do is upgrade the town hall when we have enough money to afford something that we otherwise wouldn't have had. I think I know how we do that. We go to the Enchanter's Den, we give ourselves like a ton of money, and then we buy everything in here. And now the dot goes away. I guess same thing for the garbage slime. Just buy everything. Okay, now I save. And I hit grant most things. Actually, I guess I could save now. And then... Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't get to mute the mic in time. I had to sneeze. Hey, Lenny. Hey, who cares? Lunch was good. Had some Indian food. I also sent a message. Thanks, Joss. And hi. I sent a message on Discord about account details. So whenever you get a chance, Lammy, and again, if you ever want to not do this, you can bail out. No hard feelings. But whenever you get a chance, do read through this instruction thing. I see someone's in here. Already sent. Okay. One step ahead of me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so now we do this. So we save, we click this, and now the dots do not show up. But I put that line of code in, and now they should show up. And that's it. One line fix. That's exactly how I like the fixes. Where's the invite? I mean, pizza's a pretty good substitute if you're not going to have Indian food. But yeah, maybe it was lost in the mail. Cool. Fixed. Yeah, perfect. Show affordability dot when upgrading town hall. Repro was this. Have tons of money. Have all upgrades in a particular... Have all... I'll just say garbage slime upgrades. Upgrade or perks. Upgrade the town hall. At this point, despite being able to afford a newly added... let's say the enchanter. The dot wouldn't show next to it until your money was updated, which for most people would happen pretty rapidly. So this wasn't a big deal. It's still worth fixing, especially if it's one line of code. Remove unused symbol. Okay. Finish the achievement to-do list. What's still on here? Oh, localizing? Oh, God. I got to figure that out at some point. Oh, we might need to prioritize this tomorrow. This is done. This is done. This is done. Oh, no. All right, I'll write it down for tomorrow. Work on localizing achievements. I don't want people to finish localizing the game and then not... And then quit on me. I don't know. This is written really stupidly, but yeah. What did I eat? Oh, Rajma Chawal, of course. No, I had a different kind of Indian food, but I'm not totally sure what it was. We got it from like an Indian chef, and yeah, I'm not sure what it was. Clean up from this. Make sure enemy graphics make sense for the... I still haven't done this. I want to do this off stream at some point. It's not... Yeah, it's not super important. Should I do this one now? A max size label for party member base. Just change the font size based on the locale. I wonder how we do this. Godot resize font based on label width. How to dynamically change font size of a label with code. I know how to do this. Yeah. Hey, Red Rocks. Different. It's not worth explaining. It's just some Indian food. Text auto text resizing. I don't think there's an affordance for this in Godot. I'm just kind of curious what's out there before I start doing this. I've corrected max scale. When the font size, when the parent size changes, when the viewport size changes, when the text changes. Script will try to fit the text in the parent. Default text size.x, get string size. Okay, that's what we'll need to do. Something like that. I really don't like this. Huh, interesting. It puts my username at the end of what looks like a permalink. Huh, that's kind of funny. Surprised they do that. May need, what's it called? Get string size on the font. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Hey, we leave tonight. Welcome in. Add best fit automatic font size. It's open for a couple of years. It's gonna be done with a script as shown here. Same approach works for this. Mixed opinions on whether this should be a core feature, as it can easily lead to unreadable text in certain languages due to the font size becoming very low. Resizing labels and wrapping them should always be considered first. Resizing text should only be a last resort. If you look at UIs like Windows, pretty much never use automatic font sizing. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. What's been said in the last couple of years? Implemented a helper function for getting auto size font using binary search over font size. Is that what they end up doing over here? Because yeah, I'd love to not have to do this in a loop. Hoodie is legit. Do you print zip-ups? It's Amazon merch, so they make a bunch of different things. So if you just go to Amazon and search for Skeleseller hoodie, it shows up. And I had to upload the design. It should show up, yeah. Huh. Funny that a bunch of sponsored content shows up first. That has nothing to do with Skeleseller. Yeah, these are hopefully mine. Because I actually had a problem a long time ago where I made Botland merch and someone else copied it on Amazon and just said it was their own. So if anyone bought it through them, I wouldn't get any money. Which I don't really care about the money from these, but I care about people stealing from me. And yeah. In fact, I think I had the revenue set to 0, but it's like, it's my idea and someone thinks that they're supporting me and they're like, oh yeah, I'll pay an extra $5 or something, and I never see that money. Yeah, so been a minute since I've been able to catch a stream. Yeah, how have you been? Last time you were here was 5 months ago. What's the best thing that happened to you in the last 5 months? All right, so what do they do here? They must change the font size somewhere. They just put it in a while loop? Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, I think binary searching through this is probably better. Did I start it with a name, or did you find the 10 out of 10 name after making a game? It was during the design phase. I don't know if I still have it written down here. It's probably hard to find now that this is gigantic. Yeah, there was some like very old design document, and we were talking. We had Idle Ascendance was the name of the game. This one, and this was the prototype of Skeleseller, but this is just had battling. And then when it came time to figure out like, okay, how do we handle selling? Oh, let me turn that off. When it came time to figure out like, okay, how do we add in a commerce mechanic? I was like, well, we could call it Skeleseller, but it would need to be based on a skeleton. And I'm very glad I went in that direction, because otherwise it would have been called something like Shop Tycoon or whatever, which is a very generic name. It communicates more about what the game's going to be. Whereas Skeleseller, a lot of people are like, do you sell skeletons? And I don't really care if that's the first question that people ask, I guess, because it's a more memorable name as a result. Didn't get laid off. Does that count? It does count, but that would mean that better things did not happen in the last 5 months. I guess or it could mean you're very grateful for your job. All right, so yeah, let's write this code. And I only want this in like one spot. So I'll just make a new component. And what do party member base already? What do these have? Name label. There it is, name label. It's just a regular label. And I wanted it to be a rich text label, probably. Are you going to sell skeletons? No. Well, I guess the logic between it being a rich text label or a label is not really all that different. In fact, if I turn this into a rich text label right now, it wouldn't really be a problem. Let me go take a look at something before I do that, though. Godot rich text label. Does it inherit from label? No, it's a totally separate thing. And does label inherit from rich text label? Because it could, but I doubt it. No, it doesn't. They're both their own thing. I'm actually kind of surprised it did that. So what does it say? Gives you control over horizontal and vertical. Doesn't support bold, italics, or rich text formatting. For that, use rich text label. So they recreated everything else that you would need between these two things. Is there anything else that rich text label does that regular label doesn't? No. I don't know if I'm going overboard by doing this. All right, well, let's just make it. Let's figure it out. So, rich text label. So how are we going to do this? It needs to be based on a parent size, or we give it a static size? No, it should just be based on its size. Also, hey, William. Sorry, I thought that was just We Leave Tonight saying, because your names will start with W and are pretty much the same blue. Came under the radar. And you have disposable or tradable skeleton bones. So the thing I'm kind of telling people at this point is like, we're in prep for launch mode. We don't really have time to make new things or change a lot of old things. It's just going to be marketing, improvements, and any remaining work we had already on the radar. And then if the game does well, I think there's going to be probably like no shortage of other things we could branch into and ideas that people suggest. I looked at it. It's a good game. Well, thanks. Thanks for having a look at my game. So this is going to be something like auto resize rich text label. Wait, that's not the right thing. There we go. So let's put this in UI and then where? I don't know, just here. Auto resize rich text label. Then attach a script. Put that in the right spot. Yeah, that's pretty good. Multiplayer edition with character customization. Multiplayer. I do kind of wonder what it would even look like. All right, so the general idea we're going to take from this. So when the text changes, when the window changes, or when the size changes, can we detect when the size changes? Godot detect when size changes. Maybe it's in here. Size. Where are the signals? Signals. Minimum size changed. I don't want that. Size flags changed? No. Resized. Oh, perfect. Okay, so resized plus equal on size changed. Or actually, how about this? Just like layout text. Private void layout text. So we're going to do this code. And then we also need to know when the text changes. Where's that? I don't see anything for changing the text. That's a shame. How do they do it over here? Online edit text change. So they have a different thing to detect it. And we don't have a way of detecting it. Text change. No. I mean, it's not there on the, it's not on the page. I don't think it'd be here. Well, maybe we make this public then. I don't know. So we're going to set the font size and then, yeah, I'd like to change this to a binary search. So we might need to increase it. Yeah. I might need to keep track of its starting font size. Starting font size. Oh, we got to change all the font sizes though, don't we? I'll just change the normal one. All right, so starting font size equals get theme. How do you get the font size? I don't actually know how to do this. Is this for reactive layout? Yeah, just for other languages that might have longer words for some of the adventurer names. I don't know how you even get the current font size. Get theme font size, normal font size. All right, so int font size equals a starting one, and then while. So we need to get the font that we use. What's that -1 supposed to be? Width. And then what's the final thing? The font size? Okay. And then set this at the end. And what's this? This is greater than the width of this thing that we have. Size equals size. I guess we just do that. Don't need rect size. Where do they get that from? I don't know where that came from. Just name.width. So what, we have a width property on here? We get content width. Okay, I don't think that's it. Doesn't already have an auto size? I don't think so based on the issue that I found. This thing add best fit automatic font size. I think they have things to, I gotta check that and I gotta turn off clipping. Yeah, I don't think they have a thing to change the font size. I think they have a thing to like resize a label maybe. To be disabled. Actually, I don't know what this should be. Maybe disabled. All right, so let's just try using this and see what happens. Because I don't know what's going to happen here. So we're going to make a new scene and we're going to save. Let's put a party member base in here. Hopefully this doesn't cause a problem. But then instead of this, there's a name label in here. I want to make this the new label that I have. I guess let's just change this entirely. This is a panel container. All right, I'll add in a VBox container. And we'll delete this. So this thing already has a size. And then in here, we'll add in the auto size text label. And this is going to say, this is long. And I guess we turn off word wrap. I do want word wrap on though. Oh, this is going to be really hard then, won't it? Oh no, I didn't even think about that. Oh man. Oh no. All right, I'm not totally sure what we're going to do. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do. Shouldn't this call layout text immediately? Keep word wrap off, but after you resize turn on. I can't do that because something like Witch Doctor fits in the normal font size, but if I turn this off, it won't fit, and then it'll shrink it, and then it'll put word wrap back on, and it'll just be a smaller font. That's why this is a little bit difficult. So I kind of need to base the font size on the vertical, on the height, I guess. Game delayed by a year. I hope not. All right, so the panel container we're going to make like this. And that way, hopefully we can see how this works. Oh, come on. I'm going to zoom the whole thing. This is a long string. I don't think this even works because it's always going to be the right width. No, there, it worked. Okay, yeah. I think it worked. I guess I should have print the font size. Setting the font size to this. I ran the wrong thing. Buying everyone in chat dinner. You better write down all those names right now. I don't think it's ever going to get game of the year. I think that'd be quite a stretch. So it set it to 6, but it started by trying to set it to 1. Because the container hadn't been set yet. That's fine. All right, so what algorithm are we using for this? We want something like Witch Doctor to work, and we want it to work based on its height. So we want to shrink the font until it fits in a certain width and height, but we care about the height first. So what I'm thinking is we could make a special case here for allowing 1 line break, or we could just make the translator type in the line break, or we could convert spaces into new lines and turn off wrapping. Okay, I think this is maybe the best thing to do here. No, but if we turn off wrapping, then it won't work with something like a hyphen. And you might have this be hyphenated in another language for every space. Yeah, so this is just for the sake of adventurer portraits. I don't have a picture. But yeah, it's just for adventurer portraits. So like rogue, warrior, witch doctor. In English, at most, we have 1 space. But in another language, you could imagine it being hyphenated, and then you want to break at the hyphen, so that... Don't go about breaking my non-breaking spaces, which one option does. Well, I'm still not totally sure how I want to do this. The other thing we could do is we could just have like a per language font size right in the string. We could have like rogue, card, display, and in English it's just rogue. And in German, it might be something like font size equals 12 rogue. Or whatever the German word for rogue is. And they can all just come up with their own strings. I'm not really sure what's best here. Yeah, German rogue. Can you imagine starting like a Diablo run? Oh, do you want to be the warrior? No, the German rogue. Well, I just, yeah, I could. The point wasn't exactly rogue. It was like whatever ends up being too long of a word in any language. What am I trying to solve? So this problem. In other languages, these might not fit. In English, they all fit. But in other languages, they might be too many letters on one line, or they might be like 3 words maybe. And I need some way of getting them to fit, because I don't think we can expand the cards here. The assumption that it's longer is fair. Yeah. So some of these it is. I looked it up for something. Where is it? Yeah, this. I don't know what this even translates to anymore. Well, I see Geist in it, so it's probably the Spirit Caller. Whoops. How do we detect language? There we go. Oh, come on. What is going on here? There. Yeah, it's like the Spirit Caller. I don't know if this is how you would translate it anyway, but if this is how you would translate it, I don't know how we're going to fit that. Hey, Christine. Don't translate. I mean, that is another way we could do it. Could the portrait not just be moved up and you can use a tooltip? Just remove the need for it. I don't want to make them hover over it. We could do that. But yeah, I don't think most people are going to need to hover over it at some point, and it would just kind of look a little bit incomplete, I think. Yeah, they have unique art, but I still think it's nice to see who's who. Especially for cases where you're like, oh, I just got a thing that said I upgraded the golem. Which one's a golem? And you're just looking quickly and you see it pretty easily. I know you can know the characters. It might be less obvious for something like, I don't know, maybe Paladin and Warrior. If you have them both, it's pretty clear who's who, but you might not know that you have the Paladin just by seeing this. You might be like, oh, that's my Warrior. It's only for that case? If yes, have translators use soft hyphens? Yeah, it is only for this case as far as I know. I don't think we have any other place in the game where we're constrained on size. Or if we are constrained on size, it's just not a problem. Like 0 out of 2 technically can't go out of the bounds of this, but no language should have an issue with that because it's just numbers. Soft hyphens. But no, wait, we still have a problem with length of the text. Oh, but I guess you're saying combine it with my original thing we have. Weebly has some concept of that, right? If I just click French and I click translate, they have a whole bunch of buttons over here. What is this? Hyphen, EN, EM. What's that thing? Soft hyphen. Okay, what is a soft hyphen? Purpose of breaking words across lines by inserting visible hyphens if they fall on the line end but remain invisible within the line. Okay, so you get a hyphen at the end. But there's no need for a hyphen in this case, right? Like, it looks strange in English if you saw witch doctor. Are those the only ones with 2 words? I think they are. Yes. Yeah, I think these would look a little bit weird. At least this one definitely would. Well, so yeah, option 1 is like come up with some way to do this automatically. Option 2, and yeah, this is somewhat tough because we need to make sure that a single long word would be split, but that several small words can appear on new lines with wrapping as needed. Option 2 would be have translators type in the font size for each string, which they couldn't figure out on their own. Option 3 is, it's fairly common. Yeah. Option 3, have translators use soft hyphens. I guess you just wouldn't have a soft hyphen in English. Wait, sorry. English is not the problem. I guess in a language where, like English, you wouldn't put in a soft hyphen, I guess. Does Godot respect soft hyphens? Soft hyphen not shown with some fonts. Okay, this implies that it is shown some of the time, which means they must have some handling for it. So just does it work for our font? How do we put in a soft hyphen? Where's this going? What's happening? Do I have to like drag this here? What am I doing? Oh, it's not a visible character? Oh, so I gotta type something like hi, and then click this, and then type there. Is there a way to tell that this is what I think it is? Len 2 plus 5 is 7. So the soft hyphen must make it. What happened here? Unterminated string literal. Oh, whoops. I typed 2 quotation marks. Yeah. Okay. So the soft hyphen is working. Or else that wouldn't have just shown 8. So I want to do what? What am I doing? I want to find that German word. This one. And I want to split this up into 2 words. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. So then the soft hyphen would go in the middle. So let's copy this over to here. And put the thing right there and click that. So now this has a soft hyphen in it. And now we go type it into this. And now if all I did is just increase or decrease this, when it can, it's always going to try splitting at the RB boundary there. But it doesn't have to. It's not showing the hyphen. What do they say in this bug? Because this bug was fixed, but when was it fixed? Close is completed. Added to 4.5. Okay, 4.5 has it, but I'm not on 4.5. Be careful. Some copy paste UI don't preserve such characters. It looks like it has it. And it looks like the only problem is just that I'm hitting this bug and I'm not on 4.5. So wait, is that all we have to do? That's not all we have to do. Oh, man, it's so difficult. All right, so soft hyphen sound like a good thing to do. The issue, and I guess I'll paste this here. That has a soft hyphen in it. Probably also if you want to build a somewhat dynamic system around it, if it's just for character cards. I don't really want to build a dynamic system, but I do need to figure out what we're going to do about this. Like, which doctor just so happens to fit with 1 word per line. But what if we called this, I have a good example, but like Sky Mage or something like that. Like in English, this might all fit on 1 line. How do we test that? Go over here and just call this Sky Mage. This isn't the thing we have in the game. And it just so happens that it doesn't fit. But we could probably come up with something. I don't know. Anyway, imagine that fits. If we lowercase the m, it might. All right, it's making a fool out of me. I just want to come up with something else. What's a 3-letter RPG class in English? No, mage is 4 letters. What's 3 letters? I can't think of anything. Let's call him Skycar. Here we go. So in this case, I think you'd want to render it all on one line. What's the issue if it's no? Well, it's more about detecting if it doesn't fit that we might need to shrink the font. In fact, you know what? Why don't we just try this? Why don't I just put this in here and see what happens? Yeah, so this issue. So in this case, we can't fit it all on one line, and we can't even fit one line here. So we need to shrink the font size is what I'm thinking. So we'd go down to like that, and it would work. So how do we detect that? Yeah, I guess that's all we really need to do. Yeah. We need to fall back to shrinking the font if it doesn't fit. We need to check if either line won't fit. Meaning we need to know... No, we don't. No, we don't need to do anything special, right? We just do this. Yeah. Yeah. I think this'll work. All right, how do I prove this? All right, let's close out of this. And I still have some code to write, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. So I run this scene, and then I want to push this over there. And then I want to just resize this, and I should see this work in real time, hopefully. Yeah, so as I expand... Oh, what happened there? As I expand this, the font size should be able to get larger until it hits size 32, which it might already be at 32. I can't actually tell. But if I shrink it to like there, it gets a little bit smaller. And then a little bit smaller again. And it's going to keep getting smaller until it hits the minimum size. And then what's going to happen is it's going to split into 2 lines and probably just like mess up or something. It should split it. I don't know why it's not splitting it. I can't even really make it much smaller than that. And now I can't read it at all. But I think it went down to a font size of 1. I can set the minimum font size to bigger than that. There's no setting for an auto font size? No, not in Godot. There's been an open issue for a while. So how about if font size is greater than like 8? And I don't think it's that hard to write one. I just got to accommodate this specific scenario. All right, so let's try this again. So we shrink this, we shrink this. Aha, there. So this worked. So we want it to break first and then to shrink, which I don't think it's going to be easy, right? Well, it would be easy if we just start at the largest size and work our way down. Wait, right? Did I say that right? So algorithm is going to be try breaking try wrapping the string first. And then if it's still too wide, shrink the font size. So start with the font at a size that definitely won't work. In CJK enters room. I don't think CJK should have a problem with this stuff though, right? Shouldn't they all be like super short words? English to Korean. Spirit caller. Yeah, I think everything should be pretty short here. Warrior, paladin, cleric. I mean, I don't know if these are the words people would actually use for this stuff. And then what about Japanese? Are any of these huge? Okay, that one's pretty large. Your left thumb ever hurt from using the corn? No. I think they have different wrapping rules. Well, we probably just don't need to wrap them at all. We could probably just shrink them. Yeah, some of these aren't too bad. Mage, rogue, archer. And what about Chinese simplified? I don't think any of these should be very long, right? Yeah. Should all be pretty brief. I'm not testing all of them. Yeah, we could probably fit all this. All right, so we start at a size that's way too big so that it breaks. Wait, no, how would we know that it breaks though? That's the problem. We'd have to search for a soft hyphen for a wrapping character. I wonder if there's another function that I can use instead of this get string size. What else do we have? Oh, there's a whole bunch of things in here. Text, horizontal alignment, width. What's width? Width might be what I want. Where's width described? What? Returns. Okay, I can't read this here. What is this in? Font? Godot font. Get string size. Hey, Grace. It's going pretty well, I think. We're about to find out. Returns the size of a bounding box of a single line string. Oh no. There's get multi-line string size. Okay, maybe this is what we want. Returns the size of a bounding box of a string broken into lines, taking kerning in advance into account. Okay, so how does this work? Text, alignment, width, font size, max lines, break flags, justification flags, direction, orientation. Okay, I think I want this. Get multi-line string size. Break up word in separate lines. You have to use a soft hyphen to be grammatically correct, but I guess considering every grammatical intricacy will be super hard. Yeah, but I think the soft hyphen should show the hyphen once I upgrade to 4.5. How do you know which function to use? I'm assuming I can just always use this one, because this has a break flag in there. But what is that set to? Break none, break mandatory. Oh my God. What do I set this to? Probably all of them. No, you can't do all of them. Should only be used in conjunction with break word bound. Break the line between any unconnected graphemes. All right, I don't know what to pass in for this. But let's start with the easy arguments. So text, we're done. Alignment, I'm pretty sure we're done. What is it set to? Line left, center, right, or fill. Yeah, I think it's left. So we just probably don't need to pass anything because it's set to 0 by default. Width, it doesn't tell you what width is. And I don't know why you would, why do you pass in the width? Draw? They don't talk about width anywhere here. Okay. Well, I don't know what to do for that, so we're just going to pass in -1. Font size, we already know. Max lines, we want to pass in. So max lines going to be 2. Int -1. Okay, yeah. Break flag, I don't know. I don't know what we want for this. Find it mandatory characters. Break line between the words. Break line between any unconnected graphemes. Should only be used in conjunction with break word bound. Break line between any unconnected graphemes if it's impossible to break it between the words. So probably break adaptive and break word bound. Let's just pass in all the ones that sound like they're right. This. Wait, what? Hold on. Give me the thing again. Break flag, line break flag. This is not the name of this thing. What is the name of this thing? Where is it? Line break flag is inside of text server. Why can't it find... What is going on? No definition found for any of this stuff. Is it in font somehow? No. It'd kind of, I don't know where this is. Wouldn't it be easier to use get visible line count in this case? Possibly. Where do you see that? And how do I access this thing? Line break flag. Where is this? It's in text server. Hmm. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. Enrich text label. But that's a visible line count at a particular font size, right? I need to... Oh, there's a reason why I can't do this. I can't even articulate why I can't do this. I want it to break first so that it can stay at a maximum font size. And then if it has to break, then I potentially shrink it. So I got to do get visible line count at a particular size. I won't know. I won't know that it required breaking. I think that's the issue. And I think the other problem is this. It only returns a correct value after the label's been drawn. I need to do this like without drawing 32 separate frames if I needed to test 32 separate font sizes. But my problem right now is I don't know how to even get these break flags. And it could just be a VS Code problem, so I'll just reload this. Because I think it should come from text server, which I can't even access. What is going on here? Huh. Oh, auto-completing anything now, huh? Or I just can't get text server that way. Okay, well, let's search for this. Godot C#. I don't know how you're supposed to access this. Move the... Does that... I don't think that has a problem here. Oh, apparently... Huh. Okay. Well, something's wrong with this then. I wonder why it doesn't know. Unexpected token get theme font. Oh, because there's a double ampersand here. Okay, that's the problem. Where'd that come from? Oh, it like split where the... What? All right, I think I just changed where these things are located. So fine. Anyway, let's go back to the documentation here. Excuse me. So break mandatory. That sounds pretty good. Mandatory. Otherwise, or also, I guess, break bound. And adaptive. And what other ones do we have? Trim edge spaces, trim indent, grapheme bound. I think this is probably fine. All right, what other arguments do we have? Justification flag set to 3 by default. I don't know what that is. 3 is this and word bound. Yeah, whatever. Sounds good. Directions, those are also probably fine. So this is getting the size of this thing. And if it's greater than the size of that and the font size is too great, then we decrease it. So now let's try that out. All right, so we're going to try this again. We're going to shrink this down. The font size won't change first, though. It's going to break first, I think. No, the font size changed. Well, shows how much I'm talking about. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, wait. No, because I did this wrong. If this is greater than this, we want to break it. Oh, my God. Yeah, I don't know how we do this. Yeah, how do we do this? Because when we shrink this inward, we want to just split it onto another line. which means we wouldn't change the font size. So I guess we do need to do get visible line count maybe. Hey, Orange Ray. Yeah, never fun. But then I wonder what happens if... I guess the text is never changing. Yeah, I wonder what happens if we render and it's the wrong number of lines and then we need to like render again to get the right number of lines. So yeah, the only time we care about decreasing the font size is if we were already rendering 2 lines. All right, let's try the function that Hideo suggested. Oh, I see. Yeah, this is only after it's drawn because you don't pass in any arguments. So is there a way to tell how many lines something is going to be? Does that exist? Draw string, find variation, get string size. Maybe this will work for it. It returns a vector too. Yeah, maybe we could tell if this is too big. And I just don't have any breaking whatsoever. Wait, can we do that? Like test without breaking anything if the line will fit. If so, don't change the font size. Otherwise, assume we'll be on 2 lines. And then force 2 lines. I don't know how to do this part. And then after that, change the font size until it fits. So that's the problem we have here. We have a compound word, and we need to somehow know that it's going to be in this form, or else we can't do that final step. Yeah, I don't know how we'll do that. Like, I know how we could do it for the languages I know about, because we could find where the soft hyphen would be and then replace it with a hyphen and a new line. So we'd be doing our own like wrapping stuff. Man. Get spacing. What's that? There's the amount of spacing we're given spacing type. What is a spacing type? List space, top, bottom, max. Oh, what does draw a multi-line string do? Breaks text into lines using rules specified by break flags and draws it onto a canvas item using the font at a given position with modulate, optionally clipping. I want to just... I don't know. Yeah, we got to like figure out wrapping rules somehow. And nobody did a custom rich text label doing that in the Godot asset library or shared on GitHub that you could use. This is such a specific case. I didn't do too much searching for it. I just searched for auto wrapping labels or auto size labels. It almost makes me wonder if we're going to just... If we're going to do this, I wonder if we just do this. I mean, I don't even need translators to do this. I could do this. Like if I see that the German doesn't fit, I just ask the translator, okay, where should it be split? Which I guess is what the soft hyphen thing would be for. So I pretty much just have them do this plus write a font size. They wouldn't know what font size. There's no way for them to test that. So a translator can't do it. But a translator can say where the soft hyphen would go. This on its own isn't enough. We need to somehow figure out what the wrapped text would look like so that if the string doesn't fit all on one line, we split it onto 2 lines and then shrink font. I couldn't figure out how to do this without writing my own wrapping rules, which I'm not confident I could do while respecting how every language works. Maybe this isn't that hard of a problem though. Like, how hard could it be to just learn the remaining 3 languages wrapping rules? Probably isn't that bad. Size should never change, right? Has to be you and shouldn't be part of the UI strings. Yeah. I think it does have to be me because they don't have a way of testing it. If there was like, I don't know, if there's a website and they could just click like build and just find the size that works. I still think it wouldn't be okay, but it'd be better. But they don't have a way of doing that. So yeah, what I was going to test is what happens if you do this. It should look pretty much exactly the same, right? Like the line break should even be in the same spots. Yeah, and if I do it the opposite way, again, it should look exactly the same. Because they should all be scaling relative to one another. I mean, now it's a little bit hard for me to see, but yeah. And if any of these screenshots, we should be able to see the same like percentage of blank pixels before we get to the first written pixel in any of these. Like Golem, for example, has, I don't know, 5.5 pixels, it looks like, out of whatever this is. So like we figure out the percentage and then we check out the same thing over here. And it would probably look the same. I mean, we can kind of just compare them side by side. It's not going to be perfect. But yeah, it looks pretty much the same. My only reason in testing that is like, could we just pick a static font size and then use it? And I think we can. I also think it's easiest. So how are we doing this right now? Party member base has some kind of like set name or label or something. Here it is, name label. Where do we set this? Init. And then that's it. We never touch it again. Yep, that's it. Okay. And we initialize it with get display name. So yeah, we just have something special here like get adventurer name in language with font size or something. Someone shared an approach using get multi-line string size here. Yeah, this is that issue I was in. Getting auto size font using binary search over font size works similar to how Text Mesh Pro auto sizing. All right, let's take a look at this code and see what's going on. GD script. Let's get the text, get the font width and height. Best font size, start at the minimum one. Do binary search by getting the midpoint. Get the size of the string. What is max line set to? They set it to infinite max line. What? This is, they don't even define this somewhere. Huh, weird. Text width and text height. Text size without waiting a frame draw. Text width is less than or equal to the width limit. And this is less than or equal to that. Try bigger, otherwise try smaller, otherwise we're done. I don't think this will work for the scenario I want. Oh, wait, they just pass in a width limit. Hold on, maybe I could have done that. Try that. So this is just be size.x. And then we run this. I couldn't find any documentation on the width parameter, so I just ignored it. I probably should have tested it. All right, so what happens is I shrink this. Oh my goodness, it worked. Okay, that wasn't hard. And then if I shrink this too much, now it should just shrink the font size, right? No, never mind. It's broken. Nothing works. Try it. Because I guess we're always gonna. Oh wait. Oh that's what it said. Max lines isn't respected. Turning wrong height while setting max line count. Yeah, max lines 2 is not actually the maximum. Because here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, if I just put random spaces in here, does it somehow change that? No, I don't know how this is working. Easy going. I always wanted to study CS, but currently I'm not sure because of AI and the market situation. Should I look for something else? You know, when people ask me about this, I pretty much say, like, I can't accurately predict the future. So if you had some kind of oracle that told you CS is going to stop existing in 1 year, then presumably that oracle could also tell you which stock to buy and become a millionaire tomorrow. So I think there's some risk, but I think there's some risk in practically any job you could pick right now. Because the way I kind of look at it is, let's say you did know, okay, AI is going to wipe out computer scientists. What job would you take instead? And if it's something like being a plumber or an electrician or something, then yeah, I think that's a pretty good trade-off to consider. But if it was something like, okay, well, I would go into accounting, it's like accounting would probably be gone. And it's like, oh, I'll go into being a lawyer or something. And like, I feel like being a lawyer would probably be gone too, at least to some extent. So you'd have to think of what jobs are in the same echelon of automatability as being a computer scientist. And then how long is that time horizon? So yeah, it's hard for me to say exactly what I think you should do, but nothing is certain. Also, just think about it in terms of like, how long in human history were we manually farming? And then all of a sudden industrial revolution happens, and now how many manual farmers or how much like purely manual farming do you see? It's like for years and years and years, you would have been like, yeah, farming's going to be totally fine. It's going to be around forever. It's going to look the same forever. And then it just gets totally changed. I think you need that warning change. I think in their case, they're getting the wrong height. I don't actually care about the height. I just wanted to not split lines more. You know, but I don't think computer sciences will go away. Current gen AI is dumb. You need comp sci people to manage AI, develop AI. Yeah. I think this is where I was talking about the time horizon bit too. Because it's like right now, I wouldn't say computer science jobs don't exist. You can just go find them on postings. But the question is like, okay, 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So if you think of a normal career of someone asking about computer science, it's probably on average like somewhere between 20 and 30 years, right? I mean, that's most careers are probably on average like 30 something years. Maybe 40. But anyway, yeah, so like, will my job be good in 30 years? It's like, well, that's probably really hard to answer right now. Because the state of Gen AI now might not necessarily indicate that it's going to be the same way in a year even. I don't think this is worth doing. I think this is probably a waste of time. I think probably the best thing is I just come up with, for each language, pick a font size that makes it fit, and then just have translators add soft hyphens. Yeah. And for most languages that are at least close enough to English, I can probably figure out where these should go. Like even in German, I would guess that I got it right, because I don't think it's that hard. I don't know where the word even is anymore. But yeah, I'm guessing it goes here. Just based on what Google Translate had. So like I can probably even do that myself if I wanted to. Correct? Okay, yeah. Yeah, for Korean or Japanese or Chinese, I probably can't do that. But I also don't really think it's going to be a problem in those languages as much. The question is then, do I need an auto resize thing for single lines of text? Because what happens, let's say the English word for warrior fits, but let's say it was in a font size that doesn't fit. Like let's say we can only fit from here to here. At that point, I need to shrink the word. I can't just put like worry or that won't work. Studying something you care about will bear fruit even if you become a plumber for robots later. Well, I don't think the question is like, do you care about it or not care about it? I think it's like, will a career even exist? Like you might really, really care about, I don't know, colored pencil drawings or something. But I think on average, artists probably struggle to make a living. So yeah, I think the question is more about like, could I make a living doing this, assuming I care about it? It feels like all high salary jobs can be automated using AI. I think doctors will probably be a little bit harder, or like surgeons, for example. But yeah, probably a lot of them can. I think the first AI surgery that goes wrong is going to be a news article. Yeah. So, okay. So if I'm going to do this, how am I going to do this? How do I specify the font size? I guess we just have a dictionary of locale plus adventurer class font size. Yeah, that should be it. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, you're correct. I should remember that. Like, this has happened with humans, by the way. Not necessarily removing a leg, but I've heard of a story before. I don't know if this is a myth, where someone comes in and like reads the wrong chart, and then they remove an organ that they shouldn't have removed. So when humans make a mistake, I feel like people are like, well, humans are fallible. When a machine makes a mistake, or there's an automated car driving and it gets into an accident, it just feels different. Feels like, uh-oh, what if a human had done that? And someday there's going to be probably arguments when this is far enough in the past that people forget about as many human failures. And they're just like, I don't know, they'll want control again. So much work to be done just demoralizes. I think automation can kind of be categorized as in sort of two ways. There was like human created programs, and then there's machine created programs. Like, what's a typical example of something someone might automate? Maybe there's some like script you run every day, or based on an event or something, like a typical like CI/CD machines. It used to be that probably someone out there would just run every single step themselves. And now it's like, oh, just push on Git and it'll do everything for you. And then you'll just have a new product online. And that's, I would say, like human created programs. When you get to machine created programs of like, hey, I need this product done, and you just type your requirements into an English prompt and it gives you the result. I think that's the part that is demoralizing for some people. Maybe the first level of automation was already demoralizing for some people. I mean, it did. They get rid of some jobs. I think it created more than it got rid of. All right. So yeah, I'm going to go make this dictionary, and then we're going to just stop thinking about this stuff. So I guess we put it into here because this is where I had something about CJK languages, which we probably don't even need anymore now. Was it only used there? No, it was used there too. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so this process that I've been going through for like the last hour is kind of what we need to do for some of these issues. They need some time. And we're starting that phase where we're just going to start devoting time to this stuff. Requirements of the limiting factor by IMO. This is just by asking enough follow-up questions. I'm not totally sure what you mean. I might agree with you. I might disagree with you, but I don't totally follow your sentence here. So if you do want me to chime in, I'll need some clarification. All right, what am I doing? I'm going to put this over here. Yeah, we have this on translation changed. So when the translation changes, which I think we call this originally. Yeah. Yeah, so we need some like mega dictionary here. So we want a dictionary of, I guess, a locale to a dictionary of adventurer class to font size. Name label sizes. Name label font sizes, I guess. And I would very much like for the AI to type in anything here because I don't want to come up with a syntax. This is C#, yeah. So in English, we have no problems. So for English, I guess we just type in whatever. Should we even make a dictionary? No, we should have a default. These should only be for overrides. Yeah. So this should be override, font size overrides. So if we can't find a key in here, then we just don't do anything. Yeah, I like that. And it actually makes me wonder, should we even have a dictionary if we're never going to look this up anywhere else? Let's just make a switch, right? Switch locale. Case, well, I don't know, German. I can't test this, can I? I guess I kind of can test it. But yeah, so let's say font size override. Or just font size even. Font size equals 18. Yeah, and then set this here. Okay, so German. Can I do... I guess I could just do if statements for this. Call that German, and what we need the adventurer class is equal to spirit caller. Font size equals 12, just to test it. There, that's it. Now we just do that, and we delete all that. And we try running it. Hey, Goose. If you rank languages from easiest to hardest to someone new, I think there might be more to this question, Brawley. Are you asking, like, what would I rank the easiest to hardest languages? Because I don't really think that's probably how you'd think about this stuff. In general, I'd say any like lower level languages may be harder for newcomers, and higher level may be easier. But even that's not totally true. So if you look up assembly code, as a language, this is really easy to understand. There's an instruction, and then there are a couple of parameters usually. And like this is what practically any line of your, yeah, like this. Like we're moving some data around. We're moving more data around. You look at something like this, as a language, there's very little to the language. But it's very hard for someone to understand what this does without these comments. So in some sense, it's an easier language to learn, but it's harder to do anything with it. And higher level languages are easier to read, but might be harder to understand certain things that are going on. So anyway, I don't think it's maybe like a great metric to think about it in terms of what would a beginner think. Have you heard of something called Racket? No, I don't think so. All right, so what am I doing here? I'm going into story mode. I think it's set to like maximum size right now. Yeah. Set this back to 2. All right, so if we look at what I changed spirit caller, but only in German. So right now everything's rendering at font size 18, I think. If I go to settings and I change this to German, now it should render. Yeah, nice. Okay, so that's it. That's all I wanted to do. Now, what do we have for line wrapping here? Because how do I change? I want to change the spirit caller to be the German word. So how about this? Let's do name label dot set text equal to that, and then else set it to the spirit caller. Okay, let's try that. And then yeah, this is, since we only needed it in this one case, this is a really easy solution, but it took me a while to come to it. All right, so spirit caller again, change it to, oh, it's already in German. Something's wrong then. I think I know what's wrong. Yeah. Nice. And then we just need to pick whatever font size works, which I could spend the time doing because that shouldn't be very hard. In this particular case, it looks like we could maybe only go by like 2 or 3 at the most. So if I set this to 14, it might already be wrong. It's not going to change on the fly, by the way. I already know that, but... And I wonder if what I should do is have some, like, you can press a key and it'll change the font size. In which case I'm going to need to do a pass over this later. So again, this won't work unless I change it. because it's trying to pull the string from German, which happens to be the English one for right now. There we go. Yeah. So that was +2 font size. And again, maybe 15 would fit, but I kind of doubt it. I don't know why I'm doing this right now. I don't even know that people are going to use this as the word, so I shouldn't be testing this. Although now I'm kind of curious just how good was that estimation. So I'm fully admitting we are wasting time right now. Not trying to say this is worthwhile. Yeah, okay. It like barely fits. I think the R is jutting up against the boundary. Yeah, it is. So yeah, we could probably only max out at 14 for that. And I didn't take a picture back then, but I don't know if it was legible to the average person. Because I'd say this is kind of tiny. Although maybe if you're a German player, you just increase the UI scale a little bit more. And then that's pretty legible. Okay. Well, yep. I think this is what we're going to end up doing. So let's delete this and set this back to 14. And eventually we'll just customize this. So whenever I talked about truncation, we need to modify this thing. Party member base dot on translation changed to have font sizes for each language's adventurer names. This is one of the only UI elements in the game that has a limited width/height, and it's just too difficult to write a general algorithm to handle this case. So we hard code font sizes for each locale and each adventurer. Well, a hard code font size overrides. That won't fit by default. Yeah, so now if I go into a different language, which this is probably not going to work, right? Because I don't have any of those strings marked unfuzzy. Yeah. Oh, God. If there are ever 2 lines, they're going to... Oh, no. I did not realize this. Oh, wait, though. This won't be a problem once I shrink the font size. Yeah. Alternatively, because of all this blank space at the top, maybe this won't be an issue if I just bump everything upward a little bit. But that might not be possible because maybe glyphs in other languages use this blank space. But yeah, I think just shrinking the font size might work. So if I change this to say, if locale is equal to Korean. Oh, wait, we have a thing about this, right? Locale.is CJK. Yeah. If I do this and set the font size to 16. Hey, Viridian. Welcome back. Oh, you were here last at the very beginning of the creation of this game. It had not even been a full month before I moved on beyond the prototype and had been working on this. So welcome back. Yeah, that's a lot better. In fact, that's actually... Yeah, that looks like it's fine. One of the problems is, and I don't know if this is going to be an issue for real, but like Mushy's graphic goes into this white space, whereas most other characters do not. Like the Spirit Caller just has a tiny bit there. The Archer just kind of a tiny bit there. Again, Paladin just a tiny bit. But yeah, Mushy is like in the way of other text showing up here. But yeah, like I said, probably not a real problem. So let's just leave it at this for now. What's the German translation? I don't know what someone might translate it as. Let me look up the German word for mushroom. It's literally mushroom. Well, then mushy could actually just work. Yeah. I don't know if that means something else in German. You got to be careful about that. But I assume a German person would be able to tell me. Yeah. The way I look at it is, how is a name derived in English? And in this case, it's a mushroom. We called it mushy. It's not very complex. So I assume you could do something very easily in pretty much any language. This is the word. Hey, Pilgrim. Yeah, I might have done something wrong on here. Oh yeah, I did it backwards, right? Yeah, of course. Yeah, anyway. Okay, well, even easier. So I'm assuming it'd be easy enough to come up with a name based on this. This can't be that hard. And if it is, we could always just call it some random other name. Or an English or a French name or something, even though it's German. That happens every once in a while in RPGs that make it to the US. They'll just have another character that's named, I don't know, something like with a French base. And I guess what's funny is some of these are just Japanese video games, right? So they get localized to the US with a French name. All right, so we're just not keeping this. All right, we're deleting this. Getting rid of this. And yeah, there. All right, well, we ended up with a dead simple solution. Okay. Allow for varying adventurer name sizes, font sizes. The solution I ended up with is to just hard code font sizes for each locale's adventurer names when they need to be different from the default. This is because we only need to do this in this one spot in the code. Oh, but then I need to go modify WebLate and tell people about soft hyphens. I wonder, oh yeah, I gotta go do that. Hey, Murky. Feel like some game translations feel off because they're translated solely on text and sometimes you need to see the visuals. Yeah, I agree. So we're using this translation tool. So let's say you went to German and you searched for mushy. I have an explanation here. A genderless adventurer you can hire. In English, I'd refer to it as it or they. For gendered languages, you use whatever gender mushroom is. I don't have a picture of them. I could add it if translators need it. What I probably need to say is the soft hyphen thing. We only need it for adventurer names. In fact, I think it's only for those. So I could probably just say these. Make sure you've got soft hyphens for all of these. Yeah. Let me search for that. I should probably capitalize this correctly. And I think we can set that as a context. Okay. Or you know what? We could just go modify all of these and put an explanation. Make sure to add a soft hyphen via the... Hang on a second. Let me X out of this. What does it look like? A hyphen and a parenthesis? In parentheses? I'd love to copy the text of that exactly. This one. Is that actually just a hyphen? What is this thing? Oh, yeah, it is just a hyphen. Okay, I thought it was something special. So wait, why does it look like it's spaced weirdly? Oh, because the parentheses are something special. Oh, those aren't the parentheses I can type, right? Yeah. What is that considered to be? Small left parenthesis? Okay, whatever. Fine, gonna write that in here. If needed, since this is one of the only strings that goes into a space constrained location in the UI. See attached picture, even, oh no, see attached picture. I can just put all the adventurers there. I was gonna say even those for another adventurer. So let's get a screenshot of the English version. English. And they should all be correct, right? I don't have any debug text. Nope. Yeah. And I can't deselect them all, but I can take a picture of all of this. And oh, no, something's wrong here. Wait, was there always more space on the right than on the left? Am I just noticing this now? Is that because of the scroll bar? Oh, yeah. Okay. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Spherophoria. Thank you for the raid. Oh, man. We're working on some nitty gritty stuff right now. Really nitty gritty. Happy holidays to you, too. I hope you've been having a good year because it's about to come to a close. Welcome, everyone. We are working on Skeleseller, and more specifically, there has been a very, very tiny problem. Hey, Chris. Where we have a space constrained place in the UI. I'll show what this looks like. So we go into the game here. Right here. These are the adventures we have. And in English, all of these look totally fine. Like Spirit Callers goes on to 2 separate lines. The font size is all fine. But then the German word for Spirit Caller, I'm not going to try to pronounce, is... Where'd it go? Here. This. That does not fit on one line. So we needed a way of solving this, but it's a little bit tricky. I'm kind of simplifying just for the sake of explaining to people here. In this case, we put a hyphen and we put on another line, but even that might not fit. So rather than try to like automatically figure out all of these things, which is what Spherophoria would do if he were solving this problem, we just did this, where if a locale is a particular locale and it's a certain adventure name, then we just change the font size. So we'd have to do this for any pairing that ends up being a problem. I don't even know what would be a problem yet, but I got to add a task to myself to make sure that we do that. And then I got to tell translators about this too. Probably only necessary for maybe 2 or 3 of the classes. Yeah, and I don't even mind if it was necessary for every single one of them. It'll be very easy for me to go through and just tweak some numbers here. It's a little bit tedious, but it's very easy to do it at least. Hey, Leap Your Girl. I also wouldn't get something that works in the same amount of time. This is a real world solution. Yeah, this is very much a real world solution. And I think it's worth recognizing that as an engineer sometimes, because there is an incarnation of me in the past that would have been like, we just have to solve this problem. If it takes us a week, if it takes us a month, that's what we have to do. And I would have spent a lot of time. And today we spent longer than I would like to admit. It was maybe like an hour to come to that conclusion. And now I'm just kind of wrapping up. So I wanted to take a picture of this and upload all of these. So export as adventurers, and then I want to put this on all of those strings. So add screenshot, adventurers, upload. Okay, so that is on warrior. I want to put this on every one of them. Adventurer names, context, add. Why does I click add on a button where I already added it? Nothing. I'd like it if it grayed these out. I know you can't really see because I'm blocking it with my body right now, but yeah, this UI is not the greatest. Okay, so it should be on 10 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I missed one. I missed Mushy. Where's Mushy there? There we go. Okay, so now it should be on 10 of these. And now we got to put this description. Make sure to add a soft hyphen if needed, where this word could be reasonably split, where this name could be reasonably split, since this is one of the only strings that goes into a space constrained location in the UI. See attached picture. For example, if I were adding one in English, it would be I don't think I need to say something. For also Arabic. We're not supporting Arabic. I looked up what are the most common languages that games get translated into, and it turned out to be English, French, German, Italian, Brazilian Portuguese, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, and why do I feel like I'm forgetting one? Spanish. And this is not in any particular order. But yeah, so a lot of people were surprised, like, why isn't Dutch on there? And apparently a lot of Dutch people play in English. And why is Arabic on there? I just don't think enough Arabic people play video games. That's my guess, at least. Like, No matter what, even if every language were pretty well used, there's got to be a top 10. And it's just a question of does that top 10 represent like 80% of game players, or does it represent 40% of game players or something? I'll never play games in Dutch. I probably won't either, but I had no chance of doing that to begin with. Yeah, hi Zero and Janssen. All right, so we got to put this explanation on all of these. I think there's a way to do that, but I'm not gonna bother trying to do this the smart way. Let's just do it. Strings that goes into space location constraint location. Yeah. It's not just there though. I don't think there's gonna be a problem here. That'd be hardcore to support. Yeah, I wonder how many video games support that. Okay, so like I said, we're not gonna do this in a smart way. I'm just gonna copy paste this another 9 times. There we go. Go on to the next one. Choose a language for the interface. I'd always choose English over my native language for everything computer or internet related. I only am following what I read on the internet, so I can't say that I did research myself or I asked a bunch of people. I will say that I have seen a bunch of different people play Skeleseller in a different language, and most of them have commented it would be nice if this were in my language. And I think every single one of them was on that list except for Turkish. I saw one Turkish person play Skeleseller. I don't know if they commented that they wanted it to be in Turkish. But yeah, the French person who played it on YouTube did, the Korean person did, and their communities were kind of clamoring for it too. Which I get. If you want to play a game that looks even remotely desirable to play, you're like, oh, I'd like to play it in my language. That's probably pretty reasonable. Okay, so are we done with that? So did I even change any code? I guess I technically did. Okay, hey again, Remy. All right, if you grab an item and press escape, the cursor is still the grab cursor. Makes it... We're not doing this right now. And you know what? Let's put this in its own issue. Grab cursor is used on the pause menu. Grab an item, press escape. Expected, the cursor is a regular cursor until you unpause the game. Actual, the cursor is still the grab cursor. Makes it awkward to click since the pointer isn't obvious. Since the specific pointer location isn't obvious. Yeah. All right. If you use a touchscreen and you tap an item and tap the slime to try to sell it, it doesn't sell. It just starts dialogue. Is my Steam Deck nearby? I don't really feel like testing this right now. I'll test this later. Yeah. Another meaningless streak to share. I'm very proud of you, Ramy. Add weapon grinder graphic. I hope it doesn't matter that this is now an armor grinder. Yeah, the graphic, I really like this. I just never put it in the game. And I do want to add it to the game. But I don't think this is very important to do right now. Yeah, I'll just... No, do I already have this somewhere? Weapon grinder. Change the graphic. Yeah, well now it's the armor grinder or the key grinder. Keyword weapon grinder, armor grinder. Graphics are here. Has a pipe coming out of the... What? I don't know what I meant by that. Oh, I don't know. I was probably talking about something else back then. All right, use the light and the lever from the old machine, and we may also want a different sound effect. for processing armor items than for dropping in potions. We may already have a different sound effect. I don't, let me test it before I just go write stuff in this. All right, so what does the extractor sound like? Come on. Okay, it makes like a potion sound effect. Now what does this do? Oh, it makes a key sound effect. Oh, okay. Well, then we don't need to change that. The sound effect is already different for the key grinder, so no need to do anything there. Great. And let me make sure that link is correct because that was already written there. It is. Yeah, nice. Cool. Change the theme of the credits menu. At the very least, it should probably look like the settings menu, a paper scroll. I just don't want it to clash with the rest of the game. Yeah, I'll file this as an issue. This is very easy to do. I just don't want to do it. And it's not very important. But here's the annoying thing about filing it as an issue. I got to go to this stupid base64 conversion site because there's no way to copy an image out of Google Docs. Oh no, the site's not loading. Now there's no way to copy it anywhere. Is this really not loading? Do I need to find a different converter online? Oh, this is the worst. I'm just going to wait for this site. It doesn't load. I'll just go take another screenshot. No. No. Oh, wait. There it goes. Oh, wait. Oh, what's that? Cloudflare's always online shows a snapshot. Huh. All right. Well, we'll just work around this, I suppose. All right. So change the theme of the credits menu. And then take a picture of it. And then delete stone panel. Nothing should be using it. And then we just go take a picture of the credits menu. I really like the intro music. I'm happy it turned out well. Or the title screen, I mean. Can we change the width and height here? I want to make it a tiny bit smaller. If I set this to 200, what happens? Does it change the aspect ratio? No, that's good. Okay. All right, hover over Enchanter Spellbook. Autocast Crystal will not change the tooltip, and the mana counter doesn't change. Over Enchanter Spellbook. I don't have the money. And get Autocast. Oh, yeah. The real problem here is that it should change tooltips altogether. Reminds me of Bones Tail the Manor. I don't see a quick link for this. Oh, here it is. I don't think this is similar. Yeah. I think they're very different games probably, but maybe the gameplay's similar. Okay, so I think I've had this issue for a long time here. And I don't think this is easy to fix. Enchanter Den. Yes, Iron Finger. So where does the tooltip come from for this? Show from source, hover area for the Enchanter Den. That's a whole thing though. I want it for... The crystal, where's that? Spellbooks have it, maybe? Oh, autocast button. There it is. In-world button. Oh, God. All right, this is probably going to be a mess. Yeah, this is probably going to be a mess. Does it have a comment on it? It doesn't. Oh, no. All right, how do we handle tooltips for this? Tooltip right there. Tooltip. Where do we show this? Huh. I'm so confused. I don't know. I don't see where we even show this thing. It must come from Spellbook then, right? Strange. I don't see it here either. Yeah, very strange. Show from source. Town tooltip, init, update tooltip, update spellbook tooltip. Crystals tooltip, here it is. No, wait. Oh, this is technically wrong now. We used to have multiple spell crystals, now we only have one. So first of all, I think it should just be called update crystal tooltip. The thing that's confusing me here is I have these in-world buttons that look like crystals, but they're apparently not called crystals over here. Do you have an extension to make your tabs in browser look like that? They look minimal and 2017-ish. I like it. I think I'm just using our Chrome theme. Let me see if I can find this. Theme. Yeah, here it is. Slinky Elegant. I must have gotten this a very long time ago. Yeah, updated 2015. I've had this for as long as I can remember. At least when it comes to streaming. So it had to be at least 9 years. All right, well, let's just find this text. It'll maybe make it easier. Click to toggle autocasting. Here it is. Yeah, I still don't see whatever causes this to show. So strange. There must be some other thing going on here that I don't understand. Outline parent on hover and outline holder. One of these might do it. Clickable area has the tooltip set through code. Mode is set to inherit. I mean, I guess we could disable that. What am I missing? I'm missing something, and this is driving me nuts. Hey, Molvac, it's going pretty well. I'm making progress. The thing I'm stuck on is I can't figure out what's causing this tooltip to show up. I found where the tooltip is. There's set text here. But I can't figure out what's causing us to identify it and show its tooltip. So strange. This doesn't inherit for something, does it? No, nothing that has a script that I actually need to look at. Yeah, bizarre. And we don't fetch this from anywhere else. It's not public. Oh, it's a tooltip on parent. Oh my God, I missed that. Okay. Yeah, I thought this was only for controls. We allow this to work for anything? Collision object? Okay, well, that explains that. All right. Well, mystery solved. But now we still need to figure out the bug. So in-world button has a tooltip on parent. So what do we do for the spell books? spell book. Tooltip on parent? No. We handle it from the enchanter did? Yeah, here it is. Show from source. The spell book just has a, what is it? Has special code from enchanterden.process. Why did I do that? Why don't I just make them all tooltips on parent? Yeah, that's bizarre. I must have had some reason for that. I got, yeah, So there are a couple different things we can do. Like high level option 1 is convert one of the above into, or like make both mechanisms for showing tooltips the same and hope it fixes things. And high level option 2 is to figure out why both mechanisms don't work together. I mean, let's try the conversion way first. Which direction is easier? And don't we have this problem with going over to the crystal over here too? No, I don't think that's an issue. Or maybe if you move fast enough, it would be. No, I don't think that's a problem. What about going from here to here? Or here to here? Maybe. No, yeah, I don't think it's an issue. I remember filing something on this a while ago. Where is it? It should be something about the enchanter here. Show mana regeneration rate. Fixed number of this. Considering tooltips for battlers and world buttons can be overridden by spellbooks. This one. Fix multiple tooltip sources on a perk or skill button. Okay. Oh my god, look at this. Are these giant boxy in-world buttons here? The very, very old shot of the enchanter here. Yeah, it has tooltip on parent. What if we just get rid of that? What if this entire problem could just go away? I'm still kind of curious. Well, kind of curious to investigate both ways here. Do I have time? Yeah, I have some time. All right, so let's look at this. This is just tooltip on parent, which calls over to here, which checks this, which checks its mouse entered on a collision object. I think that's what the issue is. I think collision objects do their input in physics picking, which is after it's been done for something else. Is that consistent with what I'm seeing here? So if we go from this up to the top, it always switches. But if we go from the top down to the bottom, it doesn't always switch. We need to zoom out for this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now I'm pointing at the bottom thing and it says the tooltip of the top one. But I can't ever go from this and see it on the top, can I? No, I don't think so. Yeah, it's not possible. So I think it has to do with this being picked last so that it thinks we're still over there or something. Where else do we even do this? What if I just threw an exception here? Because I don't know how often we have a tooltip on parent that actually isn't on a control. Feels like this is a mistake to do. I don't know how we'd find this in the code though, because if it's in a scene, it'll be very easy to find. We just look at its parent. So like this is a control, this is a control, this is a control. Those are all fine. And most of these are going to be controls. So label, checkbox, yep. All of that's probably fine. The only problem is when it's in the game itself, and it probably won't be added from a scene. It'd probably be added through code. Yeah, I think all of this is fine. That's fine. Yep. Yeah, I don't care about any of this stuff. Scene path, tooltip on parent. End battle screen. fishing pond. Apparently we do use this in one other place. Here? So that when you hover over the pond, you see this? Isn't this a problem with going between these two things? I vaguely remember something like that happening. No, I don't see it reproing now. But yeah, that looks like it's a place that we do this. What is the parent of you? Pond, tooltip, fishing pond. Yeah, clickable area. Oh, it's one of the few places. And we have it on the lever as well. The lever is another one of these stupid problems. All right, well, maybe we'll be fixing all of these at once. Yep, this is a problem. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Other places where we do this is the fishing pond and the lever for the extractor and key grinder. And it is kind of annoying there. I would like to fix this everywhere. Anywhere else? Quest progress? That's probably a control. Town menu. Party. I don't see anywhere else. Of course, I'm going pretty fast. I could miss this, but yeah, I think that might be it. And those are the only places I remember there being a problem. Here and here. I do remember there being a problem in the fishing pond. I don't know what it was, though, and I'm not seeing it now. So if it's not a problem now, I think we're okay. I think the issue used to be you could click here and somehow hit the fishing pond. I think that was just with clicking. If I had tooltips here, we'd probably see an issue, but I don't. Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. Don't think there's a problem here. I think there used to be one for clicking, but not for hovering. Okay, so how do we fix this? I don't want to add special code everywhere like we did for Enchanter Den, but I'm not totally sure how else we do this. This is update tooltip. So we need to check for this in a different way from how tooltip on parent checks for this. That doesn't make any sense. Because this is only doing what I would end up doing, right? Mouse entered and mouse exited here. Maybe mouse entered on a collision object is a bad idea. Then how do we do it for the Enchanter Den? Yeah, it's a clickable area. Oh, clickable area is different from collision shape? What are you? You're in area 2D. It's not different. Oh, the collision shape is different. Collision shape has mouse events? Doesn't make sense. It's what? What? No, it's in area 2D. What is written in this? Collision object. Is this what area 2D inherits from? Can I even find out? Aha, it does. So what is that thing then? A collision shape. Oh. Different from an object. So this inherits from collision object. This inherits from just node. Okay. So then their mouse entered events are the same. So then how is this working differently? Is it just because they're close to each other? Because if so, then changing this might not do anything. Not liking this so far. I don't have a lot of hope. I think it's just that two things are close to each other. Not sure if either of those will work. I think the real problem is just that two in-world objects with tooltips are too close to each other. Hey, you got a pretzel? I guess it's easiest to repro over here. Let's just save the game. And we can never go from this direction over to this direction. Or we can do the other way around. No, it doesn't work that way either. It just goes that if you go from here over to... Oh, no, it didn't work that way. How did I do that? Oh, I think I need to go to blank space first and then over to this. But like all within one frame. So I gotta like arc the mouse like that. I don't know if I can do that. Huh, I can do it on the spell books though. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's pretty easy to get it to work there. And I've debugged this before and I couldn't figure out how I was supposed to solve this. Let's again look at the order of how these things happen. Mouse entered and mouse exited. We call on hover stop here. This is for spellbook ready. Then we happen to add an in-world button. I think it's interleaving a mouse entered and mouse exited on these things. But this is happening from a tooltip on parent, which is here. Hide from source this. This checks to see if the tooltip is the source, yeah. Do we do the same thing on spellbook? On hover stop, that comes over to here. Hide from source, yeah. Huh. Okay. Well, let's put some printouts. Hovering over spellbook. Stop hovering over spellbook. And then same thing for tooltip on parent. On stop hover. Stopped hovering over tooltip on parent item. And hovering over. Okay, I suspect we're going to see something fishy print out here. I don't know how we're going to fix this. Okay, if I just save over here. There's the problem. So what happened? Hovering over spellbook, stopped hovering over tooltip on parent item, then hovering over tooltip on parent item, and stopped hovering over the spellbook. So it knows we're hovering over something, but yeah, it somehow got... Hold on, can I clear this? I want to have this happen in one shot, which might not even be possible. Oh no, there we go. Yeah, so the stopped hovering over happened after the new hovering over thing. Why is this an issue though? Let me take a picture of this. That's not what I want to take a picture of. I wanted just this bit. Hey, Scoped Assassin. Does unsubscribing to an event and resubscribing to the event in the same frame reset it? I don't think I probably want to unsubscribe and resubscribe like in real time, but I'm still getting my bearings here. So this is a repro case. Hovering over the autocast button. So this hovering is interleaved with it. Why doesn't stop hovering get called first? I thought that's how mouse exited should work. Godot mouse exited. Control has it, but I guess collision object 2D has it. Collision object 2D. Mouse entered here. Emitted when the mouse pointer enters any of this object's shapes. Requires input pickable to be true and at least one collision layer. Oh, hey, look at that. Signal may also not be emitted if another... So this is exactly my issue, right? Due to the lack of continuous collision detection, the signal may not be emitted in the expected order if the mouse moves fast enough and the area is small. Signal may also not be emitted if another one is overlapping. I feel like they should link to an issue if they're going to say this here. So let's search for it. probably something that's been closed. Yep, here it is. Okay, what do they say? Curves when both enter and exit happen in the same physics frame. Appears to me that fixing this issue would require a massive refactor. Caused by processing multiple mouse events. There's no way to control the priority. Here's a possible way to handle the problem in script. Key is to suppress processing the exit signal when it would be regressive. Yeah. Okay, but I'm already kind of doing something like this. Though that is interesting. I should probably write this over here somewhere. And I'm probably going to run into this in the future at some point. How else would I even handle this? I guess we'd put a control on an event in world space and then not handle it through physics picking. It sounds like a mess. It sounds like a big mess. All right, well, where's the... Here it is. Write notes about this issue. Okay, what are we doing then? So the order we had is hovering over spellbook, then hovering over the next thing. So we have show from source. We just immediately set the source and then call show. And in this case, it's this next thing that we have. So then this shouldn't work. Oh, man. Yeah, why does this even cause the issue that I'm seeing here? Is there a repent? Wouldn't it be possible to just override the tooltip when a new one is triggered? Yeah, and that's what should be happening here. Something's going wrong, and I'm still not totally sure what. Mouse entered. Call this on hover start. It goes over to here. We know that we hovered this. We call show from source book and then update spell tooltip. Does this call show? Oh my god, it does. Oh. Okay, whoops. Well, that's a problem. This shouldn't be over there. Yeah, this shouldn't be over there at all. This was just a code mistake. I thought this was going to be some like super involved other thing that's going on. It's not. Why do we do this? Why do we do this at all? We get the first one the mouse is over and then call update on it? Oh, this is such a mistake. Oh, I can't believe this. I thought this was going to be some like massively complex thing. I think if we were to just comment this out, unless this is the tooltip. So if let me just try this. If tooltip dot, can we get the source? Yeah, the source is equal to the book, then set the text. So I think that'll fix that problem. Then I got to figure out the extractor one, which is probably the same thing if I had to guess. Probably just did something silly. One of the issues with this kind of repro is it's like a skill repro. You have to select these things in a certain order, and I can't do it all the time correctly. But it was pretty easy to show. Yeah, now it doesn't seem to be reproing. Yeah, I think that fixed it. Wow. Well, that was easy. Yeah, we could make the code even better so that we don't end up in that case, although that's not really important. Oh, hey, look at that. You can actually select both of these at once. That's probably why that's an issue. If I zoom out or if I zoom in, they just overlap. Well, wait, maybe. Oh, yeah, they just overlap. Which I guess means you can go into this state where you have this selected, but you don't see a tooltip, but I don't really care about that. Yeah, nice. All right, well, that fixed it. So now let's go look at the lever. Where is that? Oh, it's probably a problem on both of these things, right? I don't even have the other one. Show signs, click this. So this has a lever, and when we go from the extractor to this, it messes up. So what did we do that caused a problem before? Spellbook overrode the auto click button, and now extractor is overriding the lever. When it was the spellbook, we fixed it in the spellbook part. So we must need to fix this in the extractor part. Which would be here somewhere. Mouse entered. Update tooltip. Show from source and set text. This looks fine. Maybe it is a lever. Update tooltip. Ah, yeah. This looks wrong. Let me just make sure we don't have a problem here. This is showing. We need to know what caused this to show. If tooltip dot source equals, this is even how this works. We don't have a show tooltip from source. It's this that does this. This is a problem. What is passed in for the tooltip? Here it is. Why would I do this? Yeah, why would I do this? This is stupid. What do we cause this to show? Is it a tooltip on parent? Is that why? It probably is. Yeah, it is. Ooh. Okay, so then this is already being done. So we just need to do this. If tooltip.source equals this, then do this. Now, why is that a problem? Does not contain a definition for source. How did I get this from Spellbook? Exactly. I watched the first season of that show and I liked it. Then I think it went off the rails. I think I watched like 1 or 2 episodes of season 2 and then just stopped. And I don't know how they still have a show. Not because it wasn't popular or anything. Yeah, it's got a bunch of seasons, right? But because I feel like sometimes a plot can only go in so many directions. It ended years ago. Yeah. Sorry, I misspoke. It went from 2015 to 2019. So like they had more than 2 seasons, right? Yeah, they had 4 seasons. So they did 1 per year. Yeah. Maybe deserve that many. There's another show that I liked the idea of, Manifest, and that devolved into a bunch of nonsense. But it was a really compelling premise, at least. And I read a bunch of opinions online, and most people are like, "Oh, I didn't like the acting, or the writers didn't know what they were doing." But the premise was really cool. The premise was something like a plane took off, and when it landed, it was 7 years later or something like that, but only for the people who were on the plane. Yeah, so time went like 7 years forward, only for people on one plane. And I like that premise because it let them explore some ideas like, okay, there was a couple, but only like the husband went on the plane. And when he got back, it had been 7 years for the wife, but not for the husband. So from the husband's point of view, it was like, oh, hey, I'm home. And from the wife's point of view, it was like, oh my God, I thought you were dead. I moved on. Whatever else. I don't know. Those sorts of things were like a cool premise. But yeah, that deviated pretty quickly from let's talk about the premise to let's just have a normal drama. Kind of like Lost, but with time travel. I didn't see Lost, so I don't know. Then it got weird. Yeah, and I guess they had to really push for Netflix to get their final season. And then they did, and I don't think they wrapped everything up well. I didn't watch the final season because I tried and it was not interesting. Hang on, wait 1 second before I keep talking about Manifest. Did I fix this? Because this should have, oh yeah, and I couldn't figure out the source thing. So we're gonna go look at Enchanter Den and figure out where the source is. Tooltip. So this is not a tooltip anymore. What are you? You're a tooltip on parent. Okay, so I think it's tooltip.tooltip where this content shows source. Yeah, I think that'll do this. I think this is kind of ugly. Last season had that kind of ending. Yeah. I think this a lot when it comes to dramas, at least. I don't know what Lost is categorized as, but for a lot of dramas, I feel like the thing that pulled you in is not the thing that keeps you there any longer. And I've heard there was some TV writer who said something like, your setting is just another character. Like Walking Dead. I haven't watched any of Walking Dead, but it's a show, at least from my point of view, about zombies and drama. And the zombies part probably pulls a lot of people in, but at some point, I don't know how much it impacts the story. It's just another thing that's there, and it gives like a reason for the plot to move forward. And it's, yeah, a lot of shows kind of work that way. Like Mad Men is about advertising, but like, does advertising really matter after a while? All right, so this is broken. This is super broken. How are we seeing set through code on this thing? It should be overridden all the time. Maybe it never shows the proper thing. It doesn't. Okay, so I think it's because this is what caused... No, wait. Is this right? Yeah, we don't have a proper like show tooltip here. And this also probably has to be wrong. Huh. Hey, Air Hogan. How was that tiny mountain of to-dos this morning? It's been going pretty well today. I made some progress. I'm pretty happy with it. My main thing that I wanted to get done with, which I actually just forgot, I should publish a new version of the game. I'll write this for tomorrow if I don't end up doing it today. Publish a new version of the playtest since it has the outro fixed. Yeah, I really wanted to get done with that outro thing, and I did. And then since then, we've been working on some other issues. And I probably shouldn't have spent this much time on this issue because this is annoying, but it's not world breaking. So wait, we get the tooltip on parent, we just don't do anything with it? It's... excuse me? What are we doing? And this tooltip is just a proper tooltip. And this comes from the town. Yeah, it is. Town tooltip. That's probably what happens on the lever too, if I had to guess. Town tooltip, yeah. What am I messing up here? Yeah, what am I messing up? Yeah, some series are really good. Like Breaking Bad, I think was consistently good, start to finish. You know, some people argue about one episode, but it was a pretty good show. But yeah, that's pretty rare that that happens. Actually, I'm not sure what other TV shows I would consider to be up there with Breaking Bad. I probably have to think about it. Yeah, I can't come up with anything off the top of my head. I like Queen's Gambit. Well, I guess miniseries are different. They don't really need to have continuity across seasons or anything because they're just one season. Yeah, Queen's Gambit was really good. All right, so we have mouse entered here, and this is for collision objects. So we go to on hover, and this calls set text and content, and then show from source. So set text and content shows the tooltip or no? Only if there's content. No, we show the custom content container. This is probably not even correct. We probably only do this if it's the source. There are a lot of little things that are potentially wrong about this that we just never hit. Yeah. Hey, Neo Cromer. I didn't watch Game of Thrones. Well, that's not entirely fair. I watched episode 1, and then my wife tried getting me into it on like whatever that was, season 7 or 8. So I watched whatever the bad season was. But I saw nothing from episode 2 all the way up to the bad season. So I watched only the worst parts of Game of Thrones. But yeah, the ending was really bad. And I just gave up on the book recently. I read the first book again. I finished it. I liked it. Then I started the second book, and the prologue is so long. It's just so long. No prologue should be that long. It should be like prologue chapter 1 and prologue chapter 2. All right, so this is not causing this thing to show. So this is actually not what I want to be doing here. In which case, we just don't want to override the text unless this is the tooltip that's showing. So then why is this wrong? Yeah, I don't understand why this is wrong. So this never gets hit, right? Yeah, it never gets hit. And that's another thing I don't understand. We show the tooltip, but we never call update tooltip when it's showing. I guess that makes sense. So here's what we probably should do. No, wait, we can't do this. Oh, why is this such a mess? No, wait, no, this doesn't make sense. Yeah, this doesn't make sense. On hover, let's do this. Just go hover over this thing. It's not even getting hit. Wait a second. Yeah, something's wrong with this. Clickable area is an area 2D, which we already learned is a collision object 2D. It has a tooltip on parent, which should use it from the clickable area. Huh. I don't know why that isn't being hit. Oh, now it is. Did I put this on the wrong spot? Huh. Okay. Well, the object that we added this to is going to be getParent.getParent.name, I believe. Yeah, it's a lever. All right, that's what I'd expect. So then we call set text, and if this is not null, then we call show from source this, which calls show and sets the source. That is all exactly what I want. Then we get to update tooltip, which I guess is kind of impossible to trigger while this is open. And update tooltip never gets hit. Oh, clicking it would cause it to get hit. Wouldn't that fix everything? Aha. Is this the thing I think it is? Object doesn't have a definition for name. That's strange. It's a node 2D. Should have a name. Maybe the source is not what I thought it was. Yeah, it can't be what I thought it was. The Americans, I haven't seen that one. They pretty much got kicked off other projects. They've been doing other projects so since then, right? I think they were supposed to do some Star Wars thing and then got kicked off of that and then somehow got onto other things. In fact, I think I watched one of the shows. What was it called? The one about the American president. Lightning something. Death by Lightning? Yeah, Death by Lightning. I thought that was by the same director. Matt Ross. No, that's not right. That's not right. Executive producer. Yeah. There they are. Those guys. So they're still on shows. Yeah. And that show was good. I don't think it was great. I thought it was good. So yeah, this is never true, and I still haven't figured this part out. So the spellbook was in. I gotta write this down. Spellbook was an easy fix. I was just updating the text of the tooltip without checking if it was the tooltip for the spellbook at the time. I could potentially simplify the code by changing. What was that? Enchanter, then process, update tooltip. Yeah. Not that. Huh. There was some update texting that I changed. Where is that? I changed whatever calls this. Ah, here it is. On hover spellbook. For the lever, though, I don't know. I don't know what's happening yet. Hey, Abdullah Majid. It's been a while. Doing good? Yeah. How are you doing? How's your 2025 closing out? I think this means I should be taking a break or something. Yeah, it almost always does. The tooltip, we set this. Let's close every other thing that I have open. Mouse entered. So we're going to call this. We're going to call on hover. We know on hover is being called. So we know that we're doing this, show from source. So we know the source is correct. But none of that's called when you actually hover over this thing. So we just never update the tooltip unless you click it, maybe? No, we should do this. This isn't being called? It is being called. This isn't even correct. Yeah, this isn't correct. Or is it? I think I'm confused because we have, this is called tooltip, but it's not a tooltip. Let's change that first of all. Let's call this tooltip on parent. It's a mess when it's called tooltip. And then over here, yeah, we're calling set text only on the tooltip, not on the parent one. So I guess checking to see if this is showing is probably valid. And we don't care if the source is this. No, this is a problem. Yeah. Heavy? I hope it improves in 2026. Yeah, I don't think I've watched any of those shows, Who Cares, other than Breaking Bad. Yeah, I don't think I've... Well, and like I said, like the one season of Game of Thrones. I probably would have liked Game of Thrones. Is the game development community active as the web one? These pop-ups usually have already made solutions. There are probably solutions out there, but we already custom coded one, and I'm just trying to figure out this one issue. And granted, like I said, I think my brain power has dried up, so I should probably just stop working on this for now. Yeah, if I keep coming to that conclusion, it means I should just stop. So I figured that I wasn't making progress and needed to take a break. So we'll resume with that. Or maybe I'll do some of that tonight or something. Because tomorrow I want to publish a new version. And then what else I have written down? Localizing achievements. I did not do localization stuff for like 5 minutes. But yeah, we're working our way through this list. Been going pretty well. Okay, well, thank you all for watching. I will go see if I can find someone on Twitch to raid. Let's go raid. Let's raid Irish John. All right. Thank you. Oh, wait. What's going on? Is he not online? Why does it not go to stream? Oh, I think he left. Okay. Well, we're not raiding him then. I was going to. I'm just going to log off. All right. Yeah. Take care, everyone. I will see you tomorrow. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.